Hey everybody, Jeff Sutherland, Associate Broker, eXp Realty. If you like data and information, you're going to love this segment that I'm going to give you right now. I'm going to share what's going on in the Phoenix real estate market, May 2024. I'm going to share my screen with you, and we're going to get started so I can get right into these slides that'll hopefully give you a lot of good information on what's going on in the marketplace. We're going to start off, and I'm going to show you some cool stuff. This is brought to you by the people at the Cromford Report, an amazing duo. These people know what they're talking about. This data is coming from them. If you have any questions about some of this data, feel free to call me. I'm not an economist, but I'm good enough to be dangerous. First of all, look at this San Marcos Hotel in 1913 in Chandler, Arizona, courtesy of the Chandler Historical Society. Look at that building, and then look at what has happened since. Isn't that something? Progress. Beautiful new hotel, restaurant, beautiful in Chandler. So I thought I'd get started with such a cool rendition of our history. Look what's going to happen all the way through 2033. This comes from the Greater Phoenix Economic Council. Look where the growth is going to occur. Mostly going to happen in Pinal County because there's land. There's plenty of growth there. It's going to keep sprawling southeast, and in the West Valley, it will continue to expand west, west, and west at a 17.4% clip. That is where the growth will happen as far as population and market size. Look at the recent announcements that are happening. Companies continue to come here, which is an exciting thing. And you can see them right there. You can see these Amcor Technology. They make packaging for microprocessors. These are great companies that are coming to work in our valley. What affordability measure do we use? That's the ultimate question, right? So affordability measure is something that we look at all the time, and we always make a joke. You're going to live in a river. You're going to live in a van down by the river. And the millennials are like, yeah, what kind of van are we talking about? Yeah, I mean, these are serious conversations now. Affordability is a problem, and it's been a problem in Phoenix real estate for a while. So let me see if I can unpack that for you guys here today. First of all, affordability, if you were to look at the Phoenix median income, which is now a little bit over $100,000, if you have a median income and you're going to purchase a property, that means 22% of the homes sold to families are affordable. The rest are not. And that's if you're making a little bit over 100 grand. This 99,000 was taken in 2022. So we're at 22% of the homes are affordable. If you look at how it's calculated, we can now share with you that the calculation fiscal year 2024 is about 101,000 for a median family income across the Metro Phoenix Valley. That's Maricopa and Pinal County, and that means that 22% of our homes are actually affordable. Yowza. And we have the federal chairman Powell saying that 2% is and will remain our inflation target. Yes, that's what we're sticking with. And so we have no idea if and when mortgage rates are going to be going down. It's been a slow roll. We continue to think that they're going to go down, and actually we've seen a little bit of light lately. And I'll tell you what's happened since we've seen just a little bit of a dip in the rates because buyers want to buy and sellers want to sell. So there's been a little bit of good news, but for the most part, we have quite a ways to go. This is a mind-blowing slide. Look at the amount of money that Americans are spending on their shelter. Look at this big piece of the pie here. 45.1% is going towards housing. And then we have food and beverages, which is now at 14.4%. You know that because when you go to the grocery store, it's a tough pill to swallow. So you can see all these different percentages, what people are spending in their household. And this is updated in April 2024. And mortgage rates. You're hot, then you're cold. Yes, you're up, then you're down. You're in, then you're out. You're up, then you're down. We don't know what to expect. All I know, it's a roller coaster. And when you have the opportunity to buy a house, and if they go down, make sure you lock when your lender tells you to lock your rates, because we can't we don't have much predictability in it. In fact, recently we've seen a little bit of a downturn. We were down under 7, and when that happened, we were at 6.99 conventional rates on May 15th. When that happened, we had a bunch of buyers jump into the market. I know this because I have many friends in the industry in lending and in title, and I know when the applications are going up for loans, and I know that as a leading indicator. So it went down a little bit, and you wouldn't believe a half of a point going from 7.52 down to 6.99. A bunch of buyers jumped in because they know that they can buy now with less demand, less competition, and they can refinance later. Remember, 6.99 in the grand scheme of things is not a bad rate. Many of you who are my age or more or older know what rates were like back in the 90s and the 70s and the 80s, right? So 6.99 is actually a pretty good rate. The problem is the prices have skyrocketed. So we have a triple threat. We have inflation, high mortgage rates, currently, in the grand scheme of things, and high prices. So we need something to give in order for affordability to get better in Phoenix. And, we're waiting for mortgage rates to decline. We're waiting. If you're interested in labor rates, the unemployment rate in Maricopa County is 2.5%, not too bad. And the labor unemployment rate in Pinal is 3.2%. This is from the Arizona Office of Economic Opportunity. I have all kinds of data to share with you guys. You name it, I can find it for you. Accepted contracts. We have seasonal trends in Phoenix when it comes to accepted contracts. You can see 2004 right here. We're at 1751, and those are measured on a weekly basis. Those are the contracts that are the deals that are under contract, and you will see the normal seasonal trend slowly wafts off, lowers until the end of the year, and then at the very end of the year, it drops off like a rock. We have our Cromford Market Index. The Cromford reports secret sauce, and this tells you the difference between a supply and demand and where the market is, if it's balanced or not. So right now we're at about 72% of normal supply. We're way down in supply, and that, quite frankly, is why we see moderate appreciation in the market. If we had supply that was just crazy high right now, you would start seeing price reductions. Market index is actually still slightly across the board a seller's market, but nearing a balanced market overall. Demand is also lower, under 80% of typical normal demand. So we have low supply, low demand, but a slight seller's market. Very, very interesting, isn't it? You can see that we have lower demand in the green right here, and we have lower supply in the blue, and those are starting to level out, and yet we are below normal. This yellow line is our normal of each supply and demand. Okay, and then you can see your average price per square foot, this going crazy. We had that correction, we hit the trough, and now we're almost back at the very peak of prices, believe it or not. We look at different years and what's happened over the years, and we're in 2024. We're right here. We're right there on the cusp of a balanced market, slightly in a seller's market. And so right now, it's a pretty stable market. And if anything happens with the rates, any downturn, you will see a very busy market. In fact, there are thousands and thousands of sellers that want to sell their home, but they're holding on to those COVID rates, and they would love to sell if the rates went down, because then they could go buy another house and not have to trade up to a higher rate. And there's millions of buyers that want to buy. So we have both buyers and sellers that want something to happen in the market, and they're just waiting for some sort of breakthrough to happen. You'll notice there's a few cities here that still look really good. Chandler's number 1. They have the highest Cromford Market Index at 213. They're still a pretty robust seller's market. And we have Gilbert right behind them. You can see these sellers markets that are in green. We have the balanced markets that are in yellow. And then we have the buyers markets that are down here below in the blues. So very, very interesting. And gives you a good idea. These markets here, we call them on fire. Fountain Hills, Peoria, Paradise Valley, on fire marketplaces. You can see Chandler's in the lead for top seller markets. Believe it or not, Tolleson. People are moving to Tolleson, Apache Junction, Sun Lakes, and Gilbert. That's the top selling markets as of May 9th across the Metro Phoenix area. And then we have a nice little graphic here. You can see all the sellers markets here, all these municipalities over to the left in the sellers markets. We have our balanced markets, Surprise, Goodyear, Levine, and Gold Canyon. And then finally our buyers markets. Wow, as an agent, I have to know every market and all the details of every marketplace and the data to follow it. So whenever you need information about a particular marketplace, call me. I can give you everything you need as far as data so you can make good decisions for your family. Daily close sales rates, you can see it goes up usually in the spring and it starts to hit its highest points in May. We're at that point. And then if it does follow a seasonal trend, we'll see a slow downturn in the summer. We tend to slow down in the summer, and then we get to about October, it peaks up again a little bit, and then it downturns again in December and starts all over again in January where it goes up. So it's a very seasonal trend in the Phoenix area every year. Monthly median sales price. Wow, we're at $460,000 in May of 2024. You can see that since May of 2022, our very peak, we went down in 1 year almost 9% to May of 2023. And then we've jumped up in the last year 5%. So we've literally now we went down 9%, went up 4%. So we're still down, or we went up 5%. So we're still down, we're a few percentage points, but not too far away from getting to the top again. Pretty crazy stuff. And this is a 3-year trend from May of 2021 all the way to now. It's gone up 17.2% in a 3-year trend. That's the monthly median sales price. Now, here's something crazy. If you look at today's supply, we're up 44% over last year's supply. Why is that? Well, the rates hit us hard. Supply started to go up, and that is why you see those rates and how it affected the marketplace. We also have less deals under contract. Again, low supply. We have, in general, lower supply, but not as bad as it was last year, right? So we have still higher supply, but we have lower contracts because we have lower demand. Thus, it's a good idea to get into the market now when there's lower competition, and then you can refinance later. Supply seasonality, you'll see all the way back to 2014, 15, 16. You can see the seasonality. The supply goes up in the spring, it goes down during the summer, jumps up in October, goes down in November and December. And you can see it's a little bit more balanced this year in 2024. Not as much sporadic spikes. It's pretty smoothed out here, and it should remain that way for a while unless something happens in the marketplace, like lower rates. 2017, 18, 19, 2024. There you go. Interesting. You're seeing a trend, guys. You're seeing supply start to grow. So if this line continues to go up, we may see some price reductions. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Or we may not. We have in 2020 to 22 insane seller markets, total chaos from COVID. Supply ignores seasons and drops dramatically in response to the COVID stimulus funds. Low rates, then rises dramatically with high mortgage rates. Talk about boom and then total rise in supply. It's crazy what's happening. Unprecedented times in the housing market for sure. And then finally, you can see the 2023 supply dropping in the first part of 23 and then going up like crazy in the back end of 23. And now you're starting to see some supply rise again in 2024. Many buyers have tapped out. Many buyers have had to sit on the sidelines. Many buyers have to wait. The challenge is if the rates go down, we may not see prices go down. Typically with rates that go down, prices go up. So there's actually now a lot of buyers entering the marketplace. When we hit 6.99 interest rate, a bunch of buyers bought because they know what typically happens when rates go down, prices typically go up. So that's why they're jumping into the market and trying to stretch themselves, even if it's difficult. New home sales. This is our one saving grace out there, that new home builders continue to build. That's important. We need more supply in the market. We need more supply in this marketplace desperately. And buyers right now are like, hey, give me a price reduction, give me some concessions. I want some negotiating. We're going to open negotiations and we're going in hard. And number of price changes per week, look at it going up. These are price changes. And by the way, those are typically price changes that are being decreased, not increased. So we're looking at, 22, 2,300, 2,400 price changes per week in our marketplace. Okay. 44% of closings in the Metro Phoenix area are giving seller paid concessions. Okay, that is a pretty big deal. That's almost half of the sales where buyers are getting concessions towards typically closing costs. We have an average of 91.64 in May. That's the average of concessions that are typically being paid by sellers, and we still have a lot more to go. We have about 8 more closing days throughout the end of the month. So that's your number. 91.64 is what we're seeing for an average seller paid closing cost. And you can see the cities in the valley that are getting the most paid concessions percentage wise. Phoenix 90%, Avondale 80%. If you just want an example, there was 50 closings, right? In this graph on Avondale, 40 of them had seller paid concessions. That's 80%. Median sales concessions 13,490. And then you can see this graph right here, the differences of this graph. Wherever you see more blue, more of a blue hue on this graph, on the outline areas, that's where you're getting more concessions from sellers. As you get in more into the inner part of the city, these hot seller markets, Gilbert, Chandler, when you get into Mesa, PV, Scottsdale, you're seeing less than 50%. It makes sense. Outlying areas are getting more concessions. We are spending 27 days on the market before contract. And that's not so bad in the grand scheme of things, but people are so used to having like a week on the market and people tend to get panicked. Right now it's around 27 days. And you can see there's been worse. There's been worse days on the market in the past, and there's been better. Okay, so this gives you a good idea where we've sat against the last, almost 9 years. And this was the Cronifer Report brought to you by Tina and Michael Orr, and they're amazing people, and I interpreted it. I'm Jeff Sutherland. Keep in mind, I'm not an economist, but I hope this helps you make decisions as a family. I have the data, I have the information, and I fiercely negotiate for my clients. I would love to see you get into a home. In the grand scheme of things, even though affordability is not the best, it's not as bad as it was in the 80s. That was the worst. And you're far better off owning a home, because that's where net worth grows over time. You want to get into housing for the long haul, and you want to pay the mortgage down, and that helps you develop net worth as a family. If you have any questions, give me a call. You can always call me at 602-370-7174. I'd love to be a resource for you. Anything you need for your family, or even if you want to tap in my Rolodex, there's many vendors I have in order to support you and help you with whatever questions you have. Have a blessed day, everybody. Take care.